Hello, everybody. So, how's it going? First of all, it's always testing the audio, so please let me know if you can hear me, if you know, my voice coming through okay and all this stuff. It's always good to see you people. I'm almost like, I wonder how many will join and if I will get any questions for doing Q&A and all, but I'm always happy to, like, hey, I can answer something. People want to talk to me, so it's always great. So, I'm working on myself. It's always a thing, like just getting better one way or the other. I'm looking at my own limiting beliefs. Like a lot of times I've been learning to work on self love. For me, my whole life, it's been a really hard subject, but self love right now is a big thing. And it comes in various ways, like doing little things for yourself, where there's like in a physical form of getting what you want. And for example, like, oh, you walk and, let's say you're in a store or you're online and you're like, I would like this thing. And then you're like, a thousand reasons why I shouldn't get it. But hey, now I'm allowing myself to pamper myself a little bit, like get a little this and that. Um, you know, Better food, better eating, more exercising, and all the stuff. Or even like drinking cocoa. Man, I love cocoa. But, like it's not like everyday thing, but it is in there. Got it right now. And at the same time, working on my beliefs. Like a lot of times, I see myself as like, let's say, strong and powerful being, but I still know that I have my own limits. Where I'm strong, but only this strong, and I can't do that or that. And I'll excuse myself, people, but my mom's calling, and that's important. So priorities first. I'll mute myself for a bit, and I'll talk to my mom in just a second. Alright, that's done. Yeah, my parents were going to visit grandparents today, and they took one of her dogs, Barkley. So it's like, been catching up on, hey, how's the puppy doing, and all the stuff. He's a cute little munchkin. I might pull out a video that they sent me today. Let's see. If we can get a little thing for you people. Can we? Just like simpler way display capture. Wait, what the fuck is going on? What did I turn on right now? What the fuck is this? Alright, that's weird. Okay, good. Got it. Hello everyone. So yeah, you should see the screen right now. And this is my munchkin playing around with my grandpa. Just like running in the snow. Being a cute little dog. Yeah. So I got this video and just seeing how he's doing away from us now. This cute little pupper. So there's that. Yeah, just catching up with mom. Anyway, oh gosh, people, rude of me, but I have my priorities first, and my mom is pretty high on the list. So anyway, for those that do want to contact me, I think in the video description, if you just go in the description of this stream, I believe there should be my email. If not, I'm gonna it's aquilasava@yahoo.com. It's basically the same way my YouTube is called, Aquilasava. You just add at yahoo.com and you can send an email to me. Yeah, we're gonna do a live psychic quick scan, whatever you want to call it. So for those that are like getting ready on the list, feel free to use that email, aquila@yahoo.com. Tell me a bit of your story, like what's going on with you, and some of the things you would like me to look into. Like being specific, like for example, I've been having my back pain for like about 5 years, and this part hurts, like it's a kind of sharp pain, and like I just wonder where it came from, or like a little bit about yourself and a subject you want me to look into, so something like that. So that being said, yeah, I've been talking about like working on myself and my beliefs, and a lot of things, like I know I limit myself. Like for example, when I get out of body or I do things, I go and I do a lot. But then let's see, even doing with these like psychic scans is draining. Depending on the case or what I'm working on, like I connect to people and I connect to their pain and the stuff they're going through. Specifically if they're, like I'm looking at their past lives and, they've been murdered or raped or something else, and I'm just gonna put myself in their place because like I like find them that way. So I experience things through their physical body over there, and then I can experience things from the third point of view. But even then, like it's like watching a movie, but like right around you, you're there, like when things are happening around you. And most of the times when, you're looking at what's going on in the world, or who was I in my past life and what was I doing, a lot of times it's just like, people don't understand how it's not always fun. And a lot of times, like it usually ends with death, with traumas, with chaos and something else. And when I look into what's your case, what's going on with you, I get a lot of that stuff. So for me, like getting a lot of this emotional things, like attaching to people, experiencing like physical pains and stuff like that, and then I pull myself out of it, like okay, done with the session, and I'm not picking up another one because I need to clear myself out. And I used to just like pick up another and I would burn out, like literally feeling exhausted as can be, and just like it's just over the top. So now it's pretty much like, hey, I do one, I take my time to clean myself and just like okay, reflect on things. Now I can pick up another one. And like I know stuff, like I was limiting myself. I was limiting that I actually, like, hey, I can burn out. I am exhausted. I can do this. And like things I would say myself, my old story is like, like, oh yeah, I'm like it's just too much. Like I should take a break. And no, not necessarily. I'm a fucking powerful being and I can just keep on going. Let's go. And like I get this fire going. So I'm working on changing my own self-limiting beliefs, and I'm trying to keep it in a healthy way. Make sure like, like it's not just like talking about it, it's like walking the talk and actually putting some effort and work and all this stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Emperor Rex is asking if I gotten your email. If you've wrote in the last 5 minutes, no. I'm just gonna check my spam folder, but I'm not seeing anything. For those that have wanted a psychic or quick scan in the past, please resend me the email, because I get so many. I literally have over 4,000 right now that haven't answered yet. There's a lot, and like every day I'm like trying to put some effort in there, but come on, like yeah, I need to give more priority. I'm working on it. A lot of people are getting answers, but for those that are waiting for a psychic scan, quick scan, and they want it today, send an email, like resend it, so I would have everything fresh right on top, so I wouldn't have to look through all those 4,000 emails and just like, oh, okay, where are you, So yeah, please, if you've sent me an email, resend it right now. That being said, I'm gonna scroll up, see the questions and what people are talking about, and, say hi to you all. So, the Andromedan, Miss B, Gina, Sharon, Edgeboy, Zepto, Sharon, again, Med, Charlie, it's good to see you all. Chris Torres, you're a new subscriber. Appreciate it. Next level evolution, nice. Okay. So, hey, feel free to ask your questions or bring up subjects you want to talk about today or want me to talk about something. And right now, let's review is asking Aquila, what is the most interesting thing you saw in your sessions? Maybe interference, aliens, and more. To be honest, like, I did a session before the live stream, and it was interesting enough. It wasn't the most interesting thing, but like, as we're talking about the recent things, you might have heard me talk about the crystal place in the Andromeda in the past. I've made a video about it, but basically, Andromedan Galaxy, there is this realm of crystals. And it's like programming, it's like creating worlds and applying rules in there. Like, if you would have a computer, and everything's in there, like, you just log it, like, turn on your computer and you use it, that's basically like playing a game or being here and living here. And where's all the information kept? Like, there are some folders with all the files and information of what's up, and it's literally the folder in your computer is like a realm in the Andromeda, and all the files with information and program with what's doing what and everything else, that is the crystal place with all the crystals in there. So crystals, they're pretty much like in the shape of this bubble, an orb. It's a see-through crystal, and very interesting about this place is that it's infinite. Like, it's like opening the door or going in it, and all of a sudden, this is like never-ending room. Like, you can look up or down, and it just keeps on going, infinite. You can look in any possible side, endless. It's like literally, people can keep on creating. There is no end to that. So, you go in there and you walk around and you see these pedestals, like little, let's say, tables or like little places where the crystal is being placed. And all these crystals, have some sort of a program for this 3D universe. And, some bad guys might program the crystals, and they're gonna have the program of limiting you to get out of body. For example, even placing the grid on Earth, or, like more, let's say, hardcore beliefs, entities in our space, or various limitations. And the recent thing I found, thanks to one of my clients, is a lot of people, like, I made a video about this, I'm gonna upload it tomorrow, but basically, like, a lot of people have our energy, like, we have energy shield, and sometimes the energy shield breaks for various reasons, like whether we, smoke weed a lot or use various psychedelics, we kind of burn ourselves out without really noticing, like, as well as, like, taking various pills, you can be psychic, you can have great abilities, and someone who's gonna call you schizo, like, oh, you're crazy, and then they're gonna put you in that, like, like, paddy wagon, and like make sure you're kind of like, you're with the crazy people, like, you're going to the crazy asylum and just stay there, and they're gonna feed you with pills. That's gonna burn you. Like, pills are not good. Like, going all natural would be great. Of course, we need medicine and everything else, but there are specific things that, even while they help, they have tons of side effects, and a lot of people do see visuals. You can see energies, you can see auras, you can see entities, you can see a lot. A lot of people hear things, and it's beyond physical word. Like, you can hear, okay, clapping, talking, and everything else going on around us, you can hear it all. But some people get to the level where their perception is beyond physical. Like, they can connect to the different realms, different entities, and it's the same thing as being on a radio or on a TV. And on a radio, you just go with a little, like, knob, and you turn on a different channel, and you can go, okay, 144 and point whatever, and you just keep on going with various numbers. Each channel is literally connecting you to the different realm. Same ways, like, you are, on your TV, and you're just like, ting, 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 going through different channels. It's the same way our frequency connects to the different realms. And depending where you are and how you work on yourself, so for example, you've been eating healthy, you've been working on yourself, meditating, doing a lot of, psychic work or, healing work or whatever, and at the same time, you might have had a Kundalini awakening, or you might have just started getting on this path of awakening, and you literally start tuning into different channels. And because of that, you tune into different worlds where they see you. The beings from different worlds, entities, other people, they see you. You're like literally shining bright light in the darkness. And for us, like, some people can't see them. Some people like me and like, let's say, Kimberly McGeorge and others see them perfectly, like it's physical, like it's right here in front of you. Some people hear them. And when you start hearing and seeing them, a lot of people will call you crazy, like, oh, you're just like schizo, and like, you're just gonna put a lot of words in you, and like it's not normal, and they're gonna feed you pills, and they're supposed to help with suppressing all these crazy things. But it's actually suppressing your abilities, and all of a sudden, you take too many of those and they're gonna burn you out, and all of a sudden you've done too much of a damage to your physical brain, to your body, and it's like, okay, how do I get there? Like, it just fucks up your pineal gland and everything else, your third eye, your chakras, like your meridian points, so you get pretty much like suppressed. And when people are working on, like, I'm finally getting back on the main story, when people are working on self-betterment, like, okay, your energy shield broke, or at least has some holes, or you're like doing some meditation and you're finally doing some inner work to get back your energy shield, and you can visualize it, you can do lots of things. So in this crystal place, I saw that there's this programming from the reptilians that they're gonna consume your energy, that will try to create the energy shielding and instead work into destroying it. So people can meditate, people can, let's say, eat healthy, and they can do a lot of psychic work, and all of a sudden, all this energy that you like generate and use for getting better and creating the energy shielding will actually be consumed in burning it even more. And so it's kind of like double-edged sword. You're trying to work on yourself, but it does more damage than good. And that was the program. So like I've seen, like, in that crystal place, thanks to my client, a lot of people are going through it, where you try to work on yourself, you try to do things, but you do more harm to yourself than good. Like, it will literally be better to not do shit, because if you don't do anything, it's like nothing's happening. It's kind of like staying normal. But the moment you start pushing and getting better is the moment where the program starts working, and you get worse. So that was a programming, and I've told that thing to my client, and I did a work for her to fix it for her. But all of you can do it. Like, if you notice that you have something similar in your life where you feel like you put a lot of effort in there, and I'm not saying everyone will have it, but some people might have this thing going for them, and you feel like, you put a lot of effort in, but you just feel like it got worse, like you're more exhausted, you don't have energy anymore, or, like you're getting more sleepy and tired and all this stuff, that would be like some of the signs that you can look at. And, like, the way to fix it is, like, literally, okay, this crystal, like, for example, okay, this is the crystal, this is that folder that has all the programming in it, and you are the god. You're the programmer, you can reprogram everything. So the old program is like, okay, you think of just clicking that delete button, or you literally pick and like think of eraser, and you just do this. And you just erase the old program, like putting the intention, okay, the program that will, like use my own energy to actually destroy my energy shielding or harm me, and that thing is deleted, it's no longer there. So you literally can just put an intention. If you don't have visuals, you just say it and do this movement, like with the intention, and that's gonna work. So this is how you remove the program, and there's a lot of other ways to do it, but it's just like one of the things that can work. And the next step is like, okay, so you're the programmer, and you're gonna write a new program. And this is where you put anything you want. And instead of like every time I do some work on myself, like I get results by twice more or like 3 times more, and you're like all of a sudden you're like, oh, 10-fold, like holy shit, like I do this much and results are like this, and you just like put in whatever you want. Or like my energy shield is indestructible, like like it's like, oh, like no one can destroy it. It's like like it's infinite, it's really strong, it burns all the entities, it's feeding me with knowledge and allowing me to connect to higher beings. And you just like put in whatever you want. And you can like think of programming, think of like just putting the message in and your command and what you want in there, or think of writing it in. And once you have it done, then you're like, okay, so this is the new program in the crystal. And think of that like as a cake. You've just baked a nice yummy cake, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna put some frosting on it, and that would be the overlay to make it like a cover up So you're gonna, like, let's say you think of having a can of spray, like, okay, like graffiti, like people leave tags. So you're like, okay, this is like invisibility cloaking, and you start like spraying that on your program. And what happens when reptilians walk in there and they look under crystal, they see their old program still in place. So they think that whatever they did is still working, while actually they're not perceiving that it has been changed and it's like now actually serving people instead of fucking us up. So, that's been the recent thing I picked up in a session. It seemed pretty interesting. It seemed like, I would like to give myself more time to explore the crystal place, because there's like a lot of various programs running, and some of them are affecting, 3D, some of them are affecting physical world. So there's like a lot of ways how it can go, but it's just like, I never thought of this before, but now like discovering it, like, that makes sense why some people have it. So that's the recent thing. I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. So yeah, like again, like lots of ways to deal with that stuff. And I'm just saying, like, this first thing that comes to my mind, like, oh, well, you can do this and you can do that, but like, literally, it's the same thing as with meditation. There are no rules. You just do whatever feels best. You explore, and eventually you pick up a bit of this, a bit of that. It's like listening to various people. Like, not necessarily everything I'm saying can be true to you. Like, what I believe in, what I see, what I experience is subjective. It is true to me, but you don't have to believe it or buy it or anything, and that is fine. You can have your own belief system and just go solid with that. And, if you pick up crumbs of, like, whatever I'm saying that can have any value to you, pick up that and you make up your own reality. So same way, you just gather best pieces of tools you hear of and build your own, and you just make it better. So feel free to explore, experiment, and do your own things. But that'll be a thing. So I'll just keep on going with reading more comments and seeing what you people are saying. Yeah, Gina's saying, like, we can hear us, okay. Really glad people are liking the information I give. Zepto asking if I can scan him or her. Yeah, again, for those that want a quick scan today, feel free to write me an email, aquilasava@yahoo.com. Same way my YouTube channel is called. You just click, put that in at yahoo.com, add a bit of your story of what you've been through, some of your issues, and what you would like me to look into, and then I can do the psychic scan on you. MSB is asking, how can I help my daughter? Does she have a negative influence around her? Yeah, feel free to write me. Again, like, write me an email, what's up with your daughter, what she's going through, and I can definitely look into if there's any third parties affecting her, or what's going on with her case, past lives, anything else kicking in. We can definitely check it out. Angie K is saying, hi there from Arizona. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, insights, and mostly your time with all of us. We are all learning how to stand in sovereignty and repair ourselves. Love you. Oh, thank you so much. Love you back. Yeah, sovereignty. I've been doing incantations, and like right now I'm like learning, like, prioritize things on myself, and again, things I want to work on. But let's say I go for a walk with my dog and we're like out for an hour and we're gonna like walk quite a while, and the whole time I'm just walking there and like movement and wording and like just it's like similar transformations, but like like I'm health, I'm strong, I have information to give to people that would be like useful, and like various things I'm selling myself that would empower me, make me feel better. But that sovereignty, we all have to work on that and like keep it and like be more present in that essence. Okay, so Artois Boxing is asking, like, Villa, I wanted to ask, what are narcissists and how are they created false sinks on their victims? Okay, so from my perspective, a narcissist is basically a person who's all into themselves, that they ignore people around them and their needs. It's like similar to a psychopath, but it's like literally having no empathy, no consideration for others. It's all about us. Like, I am the best, I am the glorious one, it's all about me. Whatever happens, whatever incident, it's all us. Like, it's, like, hey, two people arguing and it's all your fault because I was perfect. Come on. Like, it's your fault. Like, you did it. Like, come on. I'm too good. So, like, a lot of people who are narcissists will be using, like, gaslighting, putting blame on you, and they're perfect and everything else. And, how are they creating false things on their victims? It's literally the belief system. Mainly, the victims are those who have empathy. The victims are those who have feelings, who are kind, who are considerate, and if they have any good feelings and emotions, you're targeted individual by the narcissist. Like, literally, they're gonna say, like, oh, you look ugly, and you're like, damn, like, really? And if you have a very strong belief about yourself, like, I would pick, let's say, Gary Vaynerchuk would be the perfect example, because the person knows who he is. Like, anyone can tell him a lot of negative stuff, they can shit on him, but he knows his essence, who he is, and he believes it, and no one can shake his belief system. And so, Gary, you can shit on him and he's gonna be happy and not give a fuck, and he's gonna be kind back to you because his core is strong and unshakable. But for a lot of people who are kind and considerate, we grew up in a way where we care for others. And we actually care so much that we get hurt. Like, you're just too kind. You care too much. You're like, you want to give love, you want acknowledgement, you want to be understood, and there's that affection. And when we don't get that, it's like a slap in the face. It's like, like, they make you feel bad, wrong, and guilty, and just like, too much. So when that happens, it's like, narcissists put hardcore beliefs in your space that harm you. It's like, it shakes your values, it shakes who you are. Like, you would believe that, oh, well, the world needs justice, and, people should be loving and should be considerate and should be kind. And, like, let's say, when you're going there with a happy face and like, hey, how are you doing? And someone just like, fuck you, you asshole, and you're like, gee, what's your problem? Like, and you're just trying to be good and kind to others, and there comes this narcissist, and they're just gonna, be really rude to you, and you start questioning your beliefs, like, like, did I really do something that bad? Like, oh man, they make you question yourself. So they put you in that identity where you lose certainty, where you start doubting yourself, where you start like having doubts in who you are, that you did right or bad, and like all this stuff. And once that shakes your core, and like let's say your core beingness, that's when they get you. That's where like creating these false things on their victims. That's pretty much like like the hardcore beliefs. Like if the gaslighting. I'm sorry, my dog is like really wanting to get in. Come in, baby, yo. There we go. Where's my dog? Come here, say hi to everyone. Come here, say hi to everyone. Hello, that's my dog. That's Pumpkin. Yeah, I missed you too. I know. Yeah, good puppy. See you soon. Okay, so that's my puppy. I love him so much. But yeah, coming back to narcissists, like literally, that dog is fucking wonderful. And, if anyone was fucking with my dog and made me feel bad about feeling so much love for my dog, like, come on, dogs are like unconditional love. Nothing wrong about cats. I love cats. I've had cats. 1, 2. Yeah, but anyway, man, it's a big question. Like, there's a lot, but the gaslighting thing, where something happened and they just keep telling you the other thing, like, no, you're wrong. That didn't happen. And when you have enough people telling you that, or that one person is pushing it, and you're like, just like, oh fuck, you start questioning yourself, that's when you get into their belief system. Like, literally, in order to not be fucked by like narcissists, you need to know who you are, you need to have a very strong identity, and you can't be you have to be unshakable. Like, nothing can harm you. You have to know who you are, what really happened, and believe in that, because once you start questioning, you get into their game and they have control over you. So there's that. Andromeda is saying, I have to clean Earth from these false people. Good luck. Good luck. Andromeda is also asking, do you think that every universe has its own Akashic records? Yes. Everything. Like, literally, it's a space and time where everything is written and recorded. So Akashic, is like basically a space and time. Like, think of a realm, a room, a place that has all the possible information of what has happened, what is happening, and what will happen. Like, it's everything. And, someone needs to keep records. So it's like literally your consciousness, like you just watch what happened, you literally just wrote it in your Akashic records. So it can be your own Akashic records, it can be the place's Akashic records, or Akashic records of everything. But pretty much like everything is recorded, like same way you would have a computer recording like every single thing that has happened and looking at it. You can read information in those 10s and like, okay, yeah, I can understand everything from that. So pretty much it does have every single place, everything that happens is there. And eventually it's just consciousness, it's knowingness, like, so depends how you look at it, but yeah. Christopher is asking, have you used your astral projections heal or work on yourself? Astral projections to heal or work on yourself. Yeah. For me, I use it more on others. For myself, it's like a little bit, but it's more like finding information. I like working when I'm fully conscious here and present in here, but getting out of body and doing some work, that would be like on a deeper level, like looking at the past lives and specific traumas that has happened. For me, the big one used to be the abandonment. Like my family triggered that, like various events, like I can be a little child and let's say my dad and grandpa and everyone else goes fishing, and then I'm just staying there with my mom and grandma, and like I was like, I don't know, like 6 or 7, and I'm just gonna take a nap, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna be here when you wake up, no worries. And I wake up and they're not there, like, fuck, where's everyone? And like I get worried and everything else, like abandonment issues. Hey puppy. Hi puppy. Hey, who's the cutie? Okay, wait, we got to. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, like abandonment issues was a big thing. I love my dog. I'm so sorry. No, like I'm not. It's like fucking awesome dog. My dream come true. So for me, abandonment issues was a big thing, and I was like me and my dog so much alike. But in a relationship, it would come in a lot of ways. Like I know for me, like some people have issues in relationship because of what they have experienced throughout their whole life, and I know like my life had some of those. Like I always was sticking to my parents, like wherever we're going since I was like a small kiddo, just holding on tight, don't leave me. And if I lose them out of my sight, I'm all stressed and like hardcore just like emotions and just going through like, oh fuck, panic attacks and everything else. So I've had some of those, and then I've had to look back into why am I having it, like, cause like in this physical life nothing too big happened that would trigger it, like those strong emotions. So like I look in the past, and I was like 4 to 5 years old when like I just kept on dreaming same old dreams, until I realized that I was actually every night I wasn't too conscious, I wasn't really going there on my own free will, at least I don't recall doing it. But since I was a kid, like some people have these night terrors or repetitive dreams, like one experience that keeps happening again and again and again. And for me, it was this planet being destroyed. I have my loved ones, I have my family there, not the specifically physical one, but I just felt very close to some people over there. Like I didn't know them in a physical world here, but over there, like a very strong connection, family and all this stuff. So the planet was being destroyed, like like volcanoes going out, as like not asteroids, but like just like it's everything like burning and dying, and that was the experience, like losing and stuff, like like losing parents, losing family, losing those I know, and that was very traumatic. And every night as a kid I would like unknowingly go in there again and again and again and re-experience the same thing until I consciously and on my own free will, like, okay, let's go and explore that thing. I realized that, that was one of the experiences of my past lives, and it was traumatic, and I had to, like, go through it all, like, confront the incident, confront the hard emotions, and then look into, like, the loss, the grief, and everything else. And then, there's a lot of work that I could have done that I didn't know about, but, like, rewriting the history and everything else. But, like, that was, like, one of the things. And same thing, like, going into other past lives, like specific relationships. You have some people in your life that you're connected to, and you have issues with them. So, like, for me, like, again, abandonment coming from, like, male figures or, like, parents and all this stuff. Like, I was just exploring that. So for me, like, healing work using astral projection out of body thing, that was pretty much it. But I usually work on others. Like, you see me do these quick scans and everything else. I used to, I'm gonna fix you thing, like I was like very optimistic until I realized, it's not gonna work, because people don't like to put work on themselves, like, like I'm just not gonna do anything, and you fix me, and if it's your fault if I don't get better. And that's like that was the usual case I was working with. I'm like, shit, like a lot of pressure, and I was taking my chances, and people got better, but eventually they kept on doing same old thing that would cause the same problem. Let's say they have incubus and succubus, and a lot of people are actually just like, hey, they're feeling horny, and they don't have a girlfriend, boyfriend, and they're like, oh, just aware about this thing online, and they look for a way to like subliminal way to summon incubus, succubus. They listen to some audios, and next thing you know, they actually get it, and it's kind of fun for the first few times, and then it stays, and then you kind of get attacked and drained and physically abused at night, and you're like, oh shit, I hate this, and like a lot of people are like, help. So yeah, cool, I'm gonna take care of those incubus succubus, and then finally they're clear. Hey, few weeks later they get horny, can't get a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Well, they do the same old thing that got the succubus incubus in the first place. Like, come on, they come back with the same issue, or like, really, it didn't work. I'm like, really, what happened? And they tell me the story. It's like literally same way with doctor fixes the heart. You're like, okay, just like make sure you eat healthy and like your heart is better now. And you're like, okay, bye bye. And few months later they come back because they've been doing same old shit that caused the problem in the first place. So because I've met this case a lot, trying to help it and fix others, I've went back into, oh, hold your horses. I'm gonna give you all information. I'm gonna give you tools. You do it yourself. And, like for most part, like right now, I would rather teach people to work on themselves. And like, not many want to learn. Not many. But for me, that's what I have to work with. So there, that's my little rant. Aidan Mula is asking, can you talk about unwanted trigger hypnosis suggested in the middle of the day? This can go in like lots of ways, but the first thing that comes to me is a hypnosis that sort of comes again from unconsciousness or pain. Like, you're doing various things throughout your life. For example, you're in the house, you're walking, and you step on a Lego. Ow, my toe! And like for that mere second, you go a bit unconscious or you're in pain, so you're not paying attention to anything that's going on in the surroundings, but you have that like Lego and that pain on your little toe, and you're like, fuck. So you're like, while you're dealing with the pain, anything that happens in the background works like a hypnosis command. So literally, people can be talking in the background, you can be watching TV, you can listen to the radio, and like various things that are happening around you while you step on a Lego and feel pain can actually work like a hypnotic command. For example, you step on a Lego and I don't know, like on the radio says, and they just didn't come back. Like they're talking about, people leaving the country, like emigrating, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, they love there and they stay there and they didn't come back. And now you have a command of didn't come back, but on a specific case. For example, you never get the money back, or some people in your life are not coming back, and all of a sudden you have this case of not coming back, and you're manifesting things not coming back. Like your boyfriend, your girlfriend leaves you, your dog ran away and never came back, and like a lot of things, like small things. It can be literally even your physical spine, your back, it just got out of the way, and now you have scoliosis or you have back pains and everything else. So a lot of things, but it works with us being unconscious or in pain, and a lot of these hypnosis suggestions and like hypnotic commands happen just because of that. And if we can become aware of it, let's say, oh yeah, this phrase that keeps on repeating in my mind, this one thing I keep on saying, for me it's like I'm used to it. It became a fun thing. It's like my own inside joke, like like whatever happens in my world, I'm like, I'm used to it, yeah, whatever. Like like simple thing, like I'm out of water, like, I'm used to it. Or like this happens and I'm used to this. So like there's this little thing I keep saying to myself. But for some people it can be like let's say they might have irritable bowel syndrome, and all of a sudden, they're going to the bathroom, but in different ways. Like, for example, they might have diarrhea, they might have constipation, and, like various ways. and literally they might have heard a command, or people say things like, like, oh, stop it, hold it, don't let go. And like it can work like, your system stops, hold it, and you like system is like blocked, it's like holding it real tight, and your energy, you feel intense, like you have a lot of energy, but like it's like really your body's tensed up and stressed out, and like, you're constantly walking as if you were squeezing all your muscles. And a lot of things, you constantly hear other people say, and specific phrases you might repeat, or like something playing in your head a lot, like repetitive patterns, repetitive phrases, is something to pay attention to, because these work like hypnotic commands. And if you just become aware of it, like, oh, this thing, it just keeps on happening, and like if you can connect it to some of the things that are happening in your life, for example, this one phrase, like hold it in, or like stop it, or hold back, or you're, like, you're talking to someone and you're saying, I've seen this crazy entity, and someone is saying, oh, you're just full of shit, and next thing you know, you have a constipation. You're full of shit and you can't get it out, like literally. But some phrases can work like that. So if you can just sort of like connect the dots and become aware of it, you can literally let go of the hypnotic command, and like things get better. But it's something to pay attention to. It's like there's a lot of work in there. Okay, Daughter OV God 666 is asking or saying, I feel I struggle to get out of body of late, and I have a poor imagination. How do I create species or race I would like to incarnate into my next lifetime, and how do I program myself to go there? Good. This is easy enough for me, and hopefully I can explain it in an easy way that would, like a lot of you can do it without really having a good imagination. So for you, one thing you can do is use, DuckDuckGo, Google, ArtStation, DeviantArt, a lot of places where you can find some sort of art. And literally, how you start with creating your own race and species is that you have a thought. And a lot of you, I've made a video about it, and a lot of you watched it, we talk about how our sexual fantasies. You think of something and you're actually manifesting that realm. Well, everything you think about and fantasize, even like, oh, wouldn't it be great if me and this wonderful person just had a date, and you just like, you spin a story for a minute or two, like, and you get satisfied and you're done. Well, you literally created that place where you and that person are there, still, up to this current day. And same way, people are talking about like having higher self or over self, and why am I not getting any help? Well, gee, if you created something and forgot about it and you never came back to it, your higher self is doing exact same thing. You're here and the higher self like like completely forgot if you even exist. And you need to call to them and like get their attention somehow, and how would you do that? And like literally a lot of our own creations are like trying to get that. Like for example, you spin a sexual fantasy with that specific person, or maybe more of them, maybe you have your own harem and all the stuff. And those people, your fantasy can be stuck in a loop. And it just keeps on happening, and all of a sudden it just drains you out of energy, and like, fuck. And these beings stuck in your realm are trying to get your attention by doing more stuff. Like, okay, come on, pinch them and they're gonna wake up kind of thing. So they're gonna mess with you, they're gonna drain you more, they're like, let's say, gonna get involved in various activities to where, your physical body is gonna pick up the effects. And this is how we can get you like, oh, like, look, I just like had this dream, for example, and it was very vivid, or this thought just came to me, and like, why is it coming back? And like a lot of beings that we create are like trying to get our attention. So with all that being said, everything you think of with a little bit of an intention, you don't need to have a great imagination. It can be shit, but if you can think, and a lot of you can, just that is enough to literally create anything. So that being said, you start with, okay, so I want to create a race or species that I would go to after I die. How do I start? Well, describe to yourself, how would you like them to look like? Like, how would your perfect race look like? And you're like, you're a god, you're a designer right now. You don't need to have imagination, you can literally draw them. You can look online for ideas, like, oh, okay. And literally, you can have your own little journal. You can have your own, like, notebooks, and like, okay, just gonna write it down over here. And you start with, okay, so my race, called this, and you give them a name if you want to. I don't really care about names. And then you're gonna go into, okay, humanoid looking, tall, maybe 6 feet, 7 feet tall, and you just go into details, like their looks, their personality, their characteristics, their abilities, what can they do, what can they do, their thinking, their values, and you just go deeper into the beingness of like those creatures you're creating. And the same place, like, okay, so I have my perfect image, you're just being a god right now, you just design your being. And now, how would that place look like? Is it a realm? Is it a planet? And then you go into, okay, well, okay, so like, let's see, even this image right now, you see in like the background, there's a little boat over there, there's these like, like ruins that are grown with the, like you just find an image and just like write it to yourself, like how would it look like? For some people, like oh well, it's gonna be like huge ass crystals and pyramids and like flying mountains and rocks over there with structures and cities on like flying those rocks and all this stuff. I'm just going to like and the sky is gonna be purple. Why not? Flying dragons, that would be cool. And then no Loch Ness monsters. No. And you just go into however you want to portray your realm. And you literally can read some books, you can look at images online, you can play some games, you can watch movies, and get tons of ideas of your own perfect realm, of your own perfect planet, the looks and everything else. And then you just write down, okay, this is how I want that place to look like. And you just have an idea for the creatures, their beingness, their personality and everything else, the place, and where is it, and then is it in duality or not in duality? Like duality system, like this is where physical earth is and everything else. And you're like, no, it's my own personal creation, it's my own place that is not connected to any like duality, not physical, no, like no 3D, no 4D, like far away from it. Away from Archons and all the bad things. It's just my peaceful place. And you just write your own story. You literally write your own book, for example, or how would you describe those beings? You're creating that realm by writing, by thinking about it. And once you write it all down, you can like, okay, there's gonna be 5,000 of them or a million or however many you want. But just go into details for yourself. You just describe it all. And once you have it, then put an intention, like, okay, so these beings, I create them. I want them to be alive. And literally, just by thinking and focusing on it, the same way you would go into your daydreaming about, like, oh man, just me eating Snickers bar, like I love that, or me getting a new PC, or like new car, and you just think about you driving your new car and how it would feel like. Same way, how it would feel like if you were in that realm with these creatures, with like being one of them. Like, hey, look, I'm walking among these people, I'm talking, and we talk telepathically. There is no need for expression of like mouth moving and anything else. And however you would design your race and the place, you would just imagine yourself living there. And then same place, same way how in video games we have a default spawn place or respawn. So for example, for me, the quickest one that comes to mind is Dota, or Defender of the Ancients 2. It's like it's a MOBA game, 3 lanes, like you go on top, middle, or bottom, and you pick your character and you go like back and forth, and you need to destroy the ancient of the other team. And if you're killed in the game, you're gonna appear in your base. And this is like, okay, or like you have your own little hospital, or you have your own little place, and you literally put an intention. Once my physical body drops dead, or even earlier than that, I'm gonna appear in this place. And you create a rule for yourself. It is your belief that when your physical body dies, or earlier, this is where you're gonna spawn, this is where you're gonna appear, this is where your consciousness goes. And you kind of lock it up. It's like some people have a belief, when I'm gonna die, I'm gonna see a white light, and then I'm gonna turn around and do this. But they have this like related to the white light, and this is their core default spawning place. They like the physical body drops dead, they see white light, and then they can act on in their own way. But this is how they describe it to themselves. You don't have to go that way. You can literally, you're gonna close your eyes once your physical body dies, you're gonna open your eyes, and next thing you know, you're in your realm. And you can have, you can just be point of view, you can go into the physical body, and because it is your own rules, you don't have to live there for however many years. You can like leave at any point in time, but you create that place where you can just like, finally, I can relax and remember my past lives if I want to. I can meet my loved ones, and there's the portal to this place, and everything you designed, everything like even in this background picture that you can see on my stream, like it can be the place where you live. It can be the place of your own creation. So hopefully that gives you some ideas. Like literally, there are no specific rules of how it should be done or has to be done. It just goes in your own creation. You are God. Be creative. how would you like your race to look like? How would you like the realm or place to look like? You describe it to yourself, you write it down for more details, and the more detailed it is, the better. And then just kind of daydream about being there. What would it feel like having your family in that place? How would the food taste like? What would it, like, the air feel like, and like the smells and everything else? And you just kind of like imagine and play around, and then just tell yourself, like, this is where I'm appearing when I die. And your physical body drops dead, your consciousness is there because you told yourself, like, hey, I die, I go there. Boom. No need to go through any grids or like see any entities or anything else. No, you literally like free. This is where you like decided to go, and this is where you're gonna appear. So there's that. Okay, more questions. Let's go. Eddie is saying, Aquila, can you tell me if this is my last incarnation here? Yes, it is last incarnation here if you decided to be so. If you just decide that, hey, I'm done with Earth, I don't want to be here anymore, and most of you probably are feeling that way, like Earth is a prison planet, or how, like Earth is amazing, but I'm done. Like, I'm done with this party. I want to go back, and I want to go see my family out there, my soul family and spiritual family, however you want to describe it. But if you have an idea of what you want to do after you die, nothing's holding you back. Unless you believe that, well, then there's, I can possibly reincarnate, but your beliefs are creating your reality. And if you're doubting yourself, if you're doubting that, like, oh, I might come back, well, then you're creating yourself coming back. And you literally have to fuck the old story of being limited, of being trapped, of being, surrounded by entities, or having to see white light, or having to go through the grid. That is the old stuff. And you're God, and you can rewrite it, and you can do new stuff. So it's your choice to, hey, right now, when I die, at any moment in time, I am free, I'm sovereign, I'm infinite, and I'm just gonna close my eyes, and I'm gonna open them, and I'm gonna be in my home world, and I'm gonna enjoy that peaceful experience, and however you describe it, that's gonna happen. Your beliefs construct your reality. And if you're doubting yourself, if your like identity at a time is like not really that strong, then you're gonna manifest whatever you were focusing on. So literally, all you have to do, it's like a muscle. You have to work on your belief system. You have to work on what would you like your afterlife experience to be. And don't even go into describing, when I die, I'm gonna leave my physical body, and I'm gonna fly out of Earth, and I'm gonna fly through the grid. You're already putting yourself a limitation. You don't have to. I mean, if you want to experience that, that's cool. If you want to go and look at what purgatory looks like, or see white light, that's cool. That's up to you. But you can skip that step. You don't have to even go through that. Like, you close your eyes, and you're free. You already wake up in your own different place. It's like same place people go to sleep. You fall asleep, and you wake up in a dream, and all of a sudden something's going on. Like, what the fuck, hey man? And you join the story, and you just keep on carrying on. Same thing. You can die, your physical body drops dead, you're gonna open your eyes, and you're in the place that you created or wanted to go to. And if you just choose, once I die, I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna appear there, I'm gonna teleport there, it's gonna happen. So, is it your last incarnation? If you decided to be so, yes. And that's your own choice. Alright, just like reading more comments and questions. JS is saying, I believe the more we try to label and define something, we restrict ourselves. Yes, I understand what you're saying. For me, I have it 50-50. I don't like labels just because, oh, well, we have to explain reality in this, and if we say an apple is red and this is the red, and like we define and we sort of like limit ourselves in this construct, yes, but at the same time, in order to explain something and understand something and make it simpler, like, okay, you have an entity cluster in your space, for example, and you have tons of them. You have 500 entity cluster, for example, with different personalities, and you're trying to address them all in general, and no one's gonna listen. And, talking in generalities is crap. I mean, like, it's cliches and you're throwing it around and nothing's happening. So sometimes it's like, you're trying to talk to me, and hey girl, hey you, and you don't want to put a label on me. Hey, who's gonna look at you? My dog? People in the crowd? Who's gonna appear? So for me, like, when I put a label on you, hey Justin, hey Sage, hey Jay, Aquila. You know, yes, we sort of like limit ourselves, but at least you know what you're talking about, who you're dealing with. And it can be used in both ways. You can either restrict yourself or limit yourself, or in some ways, at least use the labeling and definitions to work on things that are like kind of like getting in your way. And you know, for me, yeah, I might not like labels, but at least I'm gonna use them to make my reality better. So that's my way of looking at it. So, TP Hedro Collider is saying, Aquila, I had an entity in my dream after I stopped being friends with someone who was quite controlling. Anyway, in this dream, the entity shifted into his true self. I've seen many times. Yeah, a lot of people are actually have these entity clusters. Like, it can be someone in your space, it can be your relatives, it can be someone you love, it can be your friends or just random people, and you sort of like see them act one way or the other, and they have like major identities or personalities at some points, and then they can flip and they can be complete opposite or look like they were possessed or acting in a way that they usually don't act in a way like what the fuck, they're different. And you know, like, that's not you. Like, are you okay? Wake up. You know, like, you kind of like look at that. So some people have those situations, and that's where labeling comes in handy for me, because you can literally like, okay, that controlling beingness, you know, it's not necessarily the real person, or you know, the real being that wants to be that way. A lot of times it's other, let's say, entities or even other ETs that were there trying to experience the human body and like projecting their beingness into us using their own technology. And literally, a reptilian can just put themselves in the body of a physical human being and play that part, and now all of a sudden they act more psychopathic, and like, you have your best friend and they like you and they love you, and reptilian takes over for a few minutes. Is the worst thing ever. Like, are you even my friend anymore? You kind of like doubt that stuff. So, you know, like, these people, entities, reptilians and stuff, they can get in the way, and you seeing them in a dream, like their true self, yeah, you're seeing the being that is controlling the person, for example, or taking over. And a lot of times, you know, because of soul traps and what we're experiencing, like, not everything is that way. It's not everyone's case, but some people, you know, that go through the soul traps, for example, will go through blending with a lot of different beings, with a lot of entities, with like, it's just like a lot of crap. You lose parts of yourself, you're fragmented, you lose your strong sides, but now you have a lot of crappy identities. And so people come here on Earth with a lot of like doubt and issues, and like a lot of like low self-worth and everything else, and those personalities get in the way, but it's not the real being. It's just like shoved or stuffed with entities, and you can literally get them out of your space by addressing specific clusters and knowing who they are. And like, okay, like, you know, like, that being that is like shy or like really doubtful or like frugal as fuck. And you know, if there's an entity living with the frugal identity, I have to save every coin possible and all this stuff, a person will be limited from being financially free, because the entity has the more major personality. And if the person unknowingly, you know, like, just identifies themselves like just an entity, like being frugal, then yeah, they're stuck with never getting too rich or never getting too much stuff. Like, so getting rid of some of these clusters, some of these fragments from other beings, cleaning ourselves from that crap, and then getting our parts back, original ones, or creating them again, and just filling yourself up with the good stuff will change your reality. So there's that. And Infinite Quarters is saying, I started drinking Ormus, if I'm saying it correctly. Orbitally rearranged monotonic element made from sea salt. I am able to see auras around everything now a lot better. I started taking lion's mane again for growing new neurons. That's fucking awesome, man. Wow, that's pretty cool. Ormus. Orbitally rearranged monotonic element made from sea salt. That's pretty cool. That's something to try out. If some people, you know, like, want to experiment, like, hey, look into that. That's pretty cool. Like seeing auras, opening up your visuals. That's really good. Good for you. Oh, typical collider is yeah, continuing with we're talking about this entity she saw in a dream, and now it's continuation. Like, so he was appearing as tall white, and she sent him packing. So his eyes started glowing red for a second. He was really mad, and she's wondering if I have any insights. And was this the ex-friend or the entity attachment? Yeah, that was the entity attachment. I've seen so many of these recently. That's why I'm like talking about it more. Um, People have their loved ones or someone really close to them, and they act out in weird ways. They feel possessed, as if like they might ignore you, or they act in like more controlling way, but in a way that would be suppressing, that would be limiting you, or be dominant, more like psychotic and just like really harsh, hardcore emotions. So a lot of them, you can see their true forms. Like you saw the real being in your dream. Like, oh look, tall white, and he was like all mad when you saw who he really is, because now you know, like, oh, it's not my ex who was actually like ex-friend who was actually that controlling. It's that being that is taking over or having more control over your friend. So yeah, you saw the true identity. They were mad, like that. That's pretty much like they can't harm us too much, so they really hate us when we find out the truth. Which is why knowing the truth, being aware of things, will give you a massive like heads up in life. So yeah, good for you. Like just like finding the ways to deal with them would be great, but just having the awareness, like, hey, you saw the true form. You have the power over him right now. They're like these entities, aliens and all this stuff. They're like cockroaches. In the darkness, they can cause a lot of harm, and they can, beat you up and drain your energy and everything else. But when you take your flashlight, hey, bitch, you're gonna look at their true identity, like, oh, fuck, run! Because they know, like, eventually all of you are God. All of you are freaking powerful. Your imagination, your visualization, your intentions, your thoughts create reality. And at any moment, if you just put an intention and you look at that, like, tall white, and you're like, I'm done with you. And you literally imagine them being put in a box, or you just erase them, or you talk to them like they're afraid of you. You have power over them, all of you. And if you just use that, that's why they have to work around and like try to trigger you through other people, and they're trying to be really sneaky so that you wouldn't find who they are. But once you know their true identity and address them directly, like, hey, you, I know who you are. I see you. Yeah, you. And they're scared, and then it's up to you what you do with them. But literally, they're scared, and you have all your guns. So one of the things you can all do is, again, like, imagine this spray can, and just imagine spraying love all around you, just for fun, like okay, love everywhere, like, why not? And it's like burning them. Like, they hate that stuff. They can't get close to you because of that. So like, yeah, something to play around with. But why not? Okay, Sage is asking, are narcissists taken over by a lot of entities, or are they non-human? There's like a lot of ways how it goes. Some of them are non-human, not all of them, but some of them will be like non-player characters. Some of them will have more entities in their space. But the biggest thing is that these people just don't have certain brain wiring that most people do. And it's literally like playing a video game or watching a movie where the villain is the main character. And it's just gonna be, I don't know, like, I couldn't think of maybe like Thanos from like MCU, or like a video game where you're playing the bad guy. Like, I don't know, like, it's just like, like, hey, you're gonna kill people. Or like being vigilante, for example. Like, oh, the government hurt you, so now you're gonna go back on revenge and fuck them over. And this is like some people, conscious beings, literally come over here with that identity of fuck off. They have no empathy, they have no consideration or kindness for others, they don't give a shit. They're all into themselves and put themselves as a priority. And this is like psychopaths, narcissists, sociopaths, they win in life because they don't give a shit about others. They're gonna step over your head and do whatever to win, and they're successful. And this is who we have running us in the governments and everything else. And some of them, a lot of these people, fully conscious, fully aware, but they're just not choosing to play the game on the same level as we are. It's like, fuck kindness, fuck all those good emotions. Like, no, I'm gonna be myself and I'm gonna be all, like just go into controlling you, because why not? Because once you start caring, it's really hard to control people. Like, let's say parents have a lot of that thing, like where they have kids and, a kid is saying something and they're gonna ask why. Well, how is this and why is that? And like, well, like, mommy, how do we have kids? And, like, you just, like, ask a lot of questions, and same question, why, until you find that very beginning. For a parent, they answer 3-4 times, and it's like, oh my god, will you ever shut up? And, they snap and stuff like that. And some people used to hit their children, and then they go, oh my god, I was so fucking bad. And, you can look through your life where you somehow maybe didn't help yourself. Like, you were so pissed off that you lost control over yourself. And it might have not been something big, but you snapped. And you said a phrase. And it actually hurt someone. And then you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I say that shit. What's wrong with me? And, like, you're gonna have that, like, conscience taking over. And you're gonna reflect on your own actions and feel bad and guilty about it. A lot of those people, like narcissists, they don't have that. And we do. So we're the ones that get hurt. But, yeah. Entities. And then there's the fourth, like, variation, like, non-human. I mentioned, like, NPCs, but, like, non-human, like, literally physical body that can work, like, 100%, whether it's just, like, disabled or not, like, doesn't matter. But a lot of those beings, like, it's just like literally a reptilian playing in a human body. They have technology that can transfer their consciousness or beingness, their point of view into a human body, and it's like literally the same way we're gonna pick up our phone and like do something on it. Like, those beings just gonna get their technology, connect to a human body, like consciousness transferring, and all of a sudden they're playing from the physical body, but they're reptilians. They're acting like reptilians. They're like, let's say, not necessarily just reptilians. They're like, Greys, they're more like mercenaries, so they're more like hired goons that anyone can use. They're not into really doing much shit. But like Mantis and, the tortoise beings, like a lot of variations of those hardcore beings that just come over, play physical bodies, and actually fuck you up. And they don't care. They'd have zero remorse. Zero emotions. Like, what? What's wrong with you? Like, and, they're high IQ, their being, this is their domination, like, this is their thing. So, yeah. A lot of things that goes on with narcissists, and the biggest thing you can have to defend yourself is have a very strong core about who you are. It's like literally, again, I'm gonna give Gary Vaynerchuk as an example, because the way he was formed as a kid and who he is right now as a person, he defines himself as someone, like, he loves himself, he's kind, he's considerate and everything else. You might watch some videos and he can be a bit hardcore, where you hear him like hustle and work and all this stuff, but he's talking about those people that want to like get something in life if they're not putting any action. It's like he's talking to those that are sitting on the couch wishing they were rich without doing shit. And, like, if you watch some of his videos where you get to who he really is, he's giving away all the stuff. He cares about people. It's like, you want to work at my company? Like, okay, you have whole year here. Like, I'm gonna fly you here, you're gonna live here, and, like, he takes care of people. He does so much for others. And, like, there's a lot of people like that. But the thing with Gary, very strong personality. And nothing that people say about him, no matter how much they shit on him, no matter how much they try to gaslight him, he's gonna stay strong, because he defines himself and you can't take that away. And with us, like, we start doubting ourselves once they, trigger our own values, and we're like, oh fuck, is it really? And like, we just reflect and we feel bad about this stuff. We have to stay strong. We have to say goodbye to the old stories of bad things that were happening to us and start writing the new story. The old story of like, oh well, I'm weak and I'm targeted and I can't find a girlfriend, or I can't find a boyfriend, and I've been abandoned, I've been left alone, and I don't have any money, and like I'm unlucky, and all the bad things that are happening through you, everything that happened from the birth until this very moment, it's your story. And it's not a lie, it's true, but you're writing a bad story. And at any moment in time, you can decide, this is it, I'm done. Like, for me, like, even like talking fast and not being clear about my messages, this is the old story. No, I have more control over myself. I have better control over, like, giving you a better message, and I have to work at it, of course, but this is my new story. I'm actually, like, getting better at streaming every day. I'm getting better at giving information that people need. And I like it. I want this to be my new personality and I have to work at it, but every one of you can take your time and think of some of the things that have been happening in your life that you don't like anymore. And say, it's the old story. Where some of you were in gangs and murdering people, where if you committed some rape or, like some sexual assaults or whatever, it doesn't matter all the negative stuff that has happened. It can be the old story. And you can choose to, from now on, it's gonna be new. I'm successful. I'm happy. I'm powerful. I'm healthy. I'm wealthy. Money comes easy as I breathe in, and whatever. You just tell yourself a new story and start living like it. Not affirmations where you don't do shit, but you're telling yourself over and over again and seeing same old bad stuff happening. You're being delusional. You literally have to change, take action, and work at it. But you can change your life. So that's the message for now. Eddie's saying narcissists are energy vampires. Yeah, they totally are. Josh Dev is asking, do you watch any Gaia shows? And if yes, do you have any recommendations? No, I didn't watch any, sorry. I'll have to look into it, but didn't give that priority yet. So there's been a lot of questions, and I'm 50-50 with answering some more or doing a live quick scan, and I think right now can be a good time for doing a quick scan. So yeah, let's maybe shift our attention and let's see what we can do. Okay, I'm just gonna switch my gears. I can answer more questions after the quick scan, but I'm gonna read through some of the emails or look at what I have and go there. Okay. Okay. Okay, Sharon wrote to me saying she has a hard time with her beliefs and she wants to awaken. Great. I'll write back to you an email, but I would like to know what kind of beliefs do you have a hard time with, what's limiting you, and what do you mean by awakening? What is awakening to you? So we can go into this conversation deeper. I'll write you back, but that's not something I'm gonna scan. Okay, just going to see what I have. Alright, so I'm gonna pick my mirror and go. Okay, so the person that wants a quick scan would like me to read the email for myself, not out loud, because he would like some privacy. But I can definitely say not every single word, but some of the main concepts that he is wanting to look at. We can do that. Yeah. Okay, so let's go with my little thingy. Where is it? Just a minute, everybody. Okay, so we're gonna have a theta meter here. Why not? So Failure is basically measuring resistance, mental energy, thought energy, emotional energy. All forms of energy have different levels of resistance or lack of resistance. So whatever I focus on is gonna see how well I can confront these things, look at things and all this stuff. So there's that. Okay. I'm gonna read the email to myself, so you people enjoy the silence for a bit, or read the comments and all this stuff. And once I'm done, we're gonna go into it. So the person is not sure if this should be specifically personal for him or the general that could benefit everyone, but he's thinking about it. Interesting. Okay, so the person is saying, the only question that keeps coming on my mind is the concept of justice. It feels like it's never served in the 3D. And as he says this, I have this, I don't know, couldn't say, it's not too sharp, but I get this, aching on my head. And I like it because, a lot of times, specifically when I work with psychics like me, or better than me, and usually better than me, they have the same thing where talking about certain subjects, some groups don't want you looking into that stuff. They're like, hey, you shouldn't be talking about it and everything else. So they start targeting you. And whether you have a thought or something you want to say and it's all gone. You're focusing on some subject, you're excited, you want to talk about it, there's this thing you want to share, all gone. Quiet. Mind fog. What the fuck? So they do that sometimes. Some people are gonna have the third parties coming in and messing with you, let's say trying to have a session and the internet goes weird, or let's say dog starts barking, neighbors coming over, and lots of other things happening in the background, controlled interference, or even physical pains, and all of a sudden I'm looking at that subject, I have a little bit of a headache, so I'm that's a good thing, because I can always track them back, who's doing that to me, and why, and all this stuff. So that's always interesting to me. We can look deeper into that, but yeah, I'm gonna read more of the email and see what we're gonna focus on altogether. Okay. Yes, I'm gonna read this general question to everyone, and probably can do just the general quick scan, just look into the concept and the first thing that pops up, and then the person also has the personal question for the quick scan, so we'll see. Okay, so the general question, I'm just continuing. Only question that keeps coming up on my mind is the concept of justice. Feels like it's never served on the 3D Earth. I know energetically or within other dimensions, karma is served or balanced out, but how come on 3D it feels as though nice guys finish last, or that our society awards and rewards the negative and stops on the positive? We keep moving forward, but feels like we are always getting stopped on every step of the way. Yes. Okay, so this can be general no justice on earth. Why is the justice not served? Why do we have more rewards for those that are negative and stops on the positive? I'm just looking at for me it's always good to have a specific target, because it's a general question, so it's very all over the place and really depends on what I'm going to focus on and how much I'm going to find on that very little bit out of everything. But it's always interesting. So justice not served on earth. I'm gonna go back into my little headache that I got. I wonder why. Well, specifically when I started reading that line. And right away I'm picking up some grace. Let's see. Right now I'm trying to locate them, because I picked up grace, and they're really trying to hide. right now I'm seeing this somewhat like a realm. Um, just like looking around. It's there's mountains, there's cities. It's more like deserty, post-apocalyptic looking. Like it's like watching an old black and white movie. It's not that colorful. It's like very, I don't know, like a harsh atmosphere. This is like a place for, let's say, the baddies. We have a lot of like I'm sorry, Greys over there. They have their own bases underground. This is like where they have more abilities to hide themselves better and use technology. Let's see. I'm getting like a lot of concepts and things thrown at me, so I'm just gonna share what I'm seeing. But you know, like the place I'm looking at right now, has like, how should I say it? It's like an airport or something like it, but it's more like portals and places where other beings from other realms and planes and planets can just teleport. Let's say they're using their spaceships, they get into their like device and they get into that base. So like they can pretty much like ship anything they need. They're also dealing with like not it's not a it's kind of like soul traps, but it's not like they're creating planets or places like realms. It's like a construct where it's like looks like Earth. How to say it? They're creating mimics of Earth or something alike. So we have where we are right now, Earth, and we have mimics like parallel Earth or their own variation of Earth. But what they're doing is like this is a place for soul traps. So like a lot of people that die, that pass away, will actually be taken by these groups of like reptilians and greys, and specifically those that are trading in it. And it's like kind of like harvesting souls, just like trapping them in one place, or like let's say they're like various like constructs of Earth. So like oh look, Earth, and they're gonna look around for their loved ones or whatever, but they see the fake version and they get caught up. And once they get in there, it's like, and again, brainwashed, like amnesia. They don't remember shit, and they're just walking around pondering like zombies. And I'm like just seeing hundreds of thousands of people just like to do like walking. It's like being in a, I don't know, like line, and people just wandering around the street, one leg, second leg, 1 foot, second foot, like literally like nothing's in their mind, completely blank, and they're just like stuck, zombified, so to speak. But there's like a lot of people who are just dropped there, dumped in there. Like some of them are deceived, you know, they see Earth and they're like, oh look, and next thing you know, like I'm from here, or I can see my loved ones, and it's like for them they're just exploring and kind of zooming in and getting in that space. But for others it's more like, oh look, you know, like they're actually in this place being stuck and all. So that's pretty interesting. It's kind of like all the energy from these beings pondering around, just like being zombified, is being taken. It's not even loot, but they're like essence is being drained. Their consciousness is sort of like nullified. This is like again how we get some entities. Like if they had some awareness coming over there, like you know, like let's say, okay, conscious being, but just got amnesia, so they're gonna start over. Like, but for them, it's like their beingness is taken away. Their emotions, their thought process, and everything else is sort of like harvested, so they get just like the like you know like zombified, like everything is taken away, and all that is used like Lush. All this energy is being gathered again into creating more constructs like this, or just powering up their technology. Like there's like a lot of this directed energy weapons and technology used to beam Earth, and again, you know, signals and everything else. It's just like again. People will fall asleep and they're gonna, you know, go into their dream worlds. They're gonna go into various places, and so this specific group is creating a lot of constructs that are gonna be controlled. So if you have any nightmares, or if you have kind of like crappy, weird like dreams, like why would I dream of that shit, or like some mundane stuff, it just like has no meaning. They're like making sure throughout the night you don't get your chance to explore and to find and learn and meet people. You go where they want you to go. They put you in a construct. It's kind of like, you know, like they're just like watching all the process, and these experiences kind of like limit people from like learning, exploring, finding out, like waking up, and at the same time harvesting their energy. Because if they can scare us, if they can trap us, they can feel us like, if they can have us feel like shit, then they're powering. So like a lot of this, you know, what I'm picking up right now is just like a lot of like realms and constructs created just to harvest humanity, our energy, and just like the more people get drained and that energy is taken, the more little constructs they're gonna create, and there's like a lot of variations for that. And again, like all that is like as a focus, trigger more negative experiences, drain the energy, and then we're gonna use it on humanity where, hey, you know, like kind of like zombify humanity or serve them that mundane stuff is a thing, and have them focus on the negative. Like let's say you fall asleep and you have the negative experience, you wake up and you're in shock, you're in pain, you're drained, you're not feeling good. A lot of these like nightly things where, you know, like even insomnia is caused by that a little bit. They're making sure it's kind of like a hard time to fall asleep or get good enough rest. So there's that too. Right now, like, just like, okay, sort of, I get the general idea, so just tracking down who's responsible for it all, like, who created this place, why are they doing this, like, what's the bigger goal, and all. Okay, what I'm getting right now is, like, who's doing this and all. It's like, it's it's a deal between reptilians and Greys, with the Anunnaki canine. So Reptilian's Grace kind of like lost to Anunnaki canine and pretty much like, okay, we've kind of fucked up. It's like losing a bet, you know, like fucking up and having to pay one way or the other. And it's pretty much like, okay, well, we're gonna pay in energy and, you know, making sure you get a lot of that. So again, like loosh to feed beings and giving away realms. Again, a bigger thing is triggering people and using our own consciousness. So let's say what they're gonna do is they're gonna beam us with specific thoughts and thinking and like get our attention into one place, and it's triggered and it's negative, and we're like, oh, we get all fucked up, and then we try to pull back and think of a better world. But a lot of the triggering was being used is that our consciousness and our godlike abilities are being used to create better realms for those beings. Or let's say the construct that we get, it's very small, it's very little, but we experience the world being taken over, invaded by aliens, or attacked or something, and when that happens, you literally, with your consciousness, create a duplicate, but it's not a construct. Now it's a never-ending realm. So for these, like Anunnaki canine, you know, we get triggered, we get harvested, our consciousness is being used to create more like planets and realms and just expand the multiverse. And with that, okay, now they have more space to play around with, and now they have more places with materials. So it doesn't matter if they get duplicates of Earth, you know, like with getting mining Earth and like more suppressed beings over there. It's not going to be the exact same copy, not as bad as here, but you know, your own version of there, like if you have a nightmare. So a lot of like what we're experiencing throughout the night, consciously or subconsciously, where let's say some of it you can be aware and remember, some of it you wake up, you don't remember jack shit, but you wake up drained, you're feeling icky, you're kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird. And so whatever happened throughout the night, they're using that your created realm, like you get the construct, then you get into it, and your experience that got you more like lucid in there and more involved, then you end up creating that realm. Not the construct, but now you're creating a planet, a place, and then the Anunnaki canine pretty much like just gets it. It's now their territory, they harvest that, they use it. So a lot of that's like basically harvesting humanity, using our creative abilities, taking control of that, and using us, you know, for that. So yeah, talk about justice. I just like got a headache and like, you know, like I'm just like, what's this, and like just looked into that. So that's what I'm seeing so far. And then again, you know, like from this whole concept, like talking about justice, I guess where I can sort of connect the dots, everything that's going on, you know, we're in the game, but we're mere pawns. Like let's say we have Anunnaki, Canaan, Reptilians, Mantis, and Greys, and everyone else. All these races playing their game, And for them, it's like, hey, it's my territory, no, it's your territory, and they go and fight back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Humanity is in one of those territories. No one gives a damn, we're just part of it. It's like, like, you go into a forest or you walk around Earth, and wherever you look, if you look close enough, you're gonna see ants. We're like ants. Like, we're everywhere, so to speak, but we're, being used and harvested, except ants, like, like, they have it easy. My dog wants to leave and go meet his buddy. Baby. Not going? Anyway. Come on, go. No. Fine, dude. He doesn't like to leave without me, so he's gonna chill here. Well, how about that? Right. Would you like a gummy pumpkin? Can you do stuff for people? Can you speak? Almost I did speak. Speak. Almost said kiss. Do a bunk. Good dog. Hello, my puppy. Good distraction. Thank you. Anyway, but it's like in this massive game, we choose to engage at one point or the other. And I'm gonna turn off the mirror for now. Like, I think, like, this is a big subject, and it can go in, like, lots of ways. But, how do you talk about it? We're playing the game on a massive level. Like, let's say, before coming here on Earth, before ever being in the 3D, before ever even being on the 4D, you're involved in your projects, whether you're playing the creator and you're creating worlds and, like, just like, okay, now I'm just gonna smoke my cigarette and be peaceful, whatever you want. It's all about creation. And whatever you're doing, you're involved in your own business. And somehow you hear about this place where, well, hey, you're a healer, you've been actually helping out people, you've been giving them technology, and there's this place where people live in poverty and they're all fucked up and they're starving and, like, you're a rich person, you can create everything, so why don't you go and help these people? It's like same as, you live in America or, like, like some place where you're fucking rich. You're like Jeff Bezos. And someone's complaining about people in Africa starving, and you're like, I have a lot of money, I have abilities, I can create stuff, I guess I could help. And once you decide to help, you join the game. And it doesn't matter how you get involved, you got involved somehow. So there was the beginning point before ever coming into this 3D, 4D, and here on Earth, where you decided somehow you're gonna play the game. And what kind of story you hear, it got you involved. So let's say we hear about people in Africa and we're like, oh, gotta go help, and all of a sudden you go fighting malaria and like AIDS, and you're like trying to make sure people don't starve and giving clean water, and that's your game. You're gonna make sure people can live better. And like, let's say people in Lithuania get pissed off when someone donates to Africa, where people in Lithuania have enough problems of their own, how can you not care about your own people, so shut the fuck up, and like, like they get like all angry and stuff. But same way, as a consciousness, as a creator, you choose to join the game somehow. It's like, hey, you want to go watch NBA game, like Lakers against Celtics or whatever, New York Knicks, you're like, yeah, cool, and you go watch it, and you get involved, and then your emotions, like, yeah, this team, go, fucking hell, why did you drop the ball? And you're like all watching the game, but your emotions are in there, you're enjoying yourself, or, you're all involved in all this stuff, and eventually, you end up in court playing. It's the same thing with our consciousness. We start at some point. We're massive, infinite, we're doing our stuff, and we hear about this game, and we're not even like, oh, it's the game, go play. It's like, they're gonna involve us with various stories. There's this war and you have best technology, you should definitely go out, help people. Or they're like, people are they're sick, go help them. And you're like in your own 25th thousand dimension, and you're like, oh, well, sure, I'm a good person, I care about people, I'm gonna go help them out. And you end up here on a 5D, 4D, 3D eventually. And the more you get involved, the more you care, you're kind of like getting your belief systems. And once you get in the 3D, and even in the 4D, what happens? The mind appears. 3D is like literally, it's like ether. Not the 3D itself, but like mind is like ether. It's everywhere. So once you join here in the 3D, you start getting this, the thinking process. And you start getting labeled, and you start getting to identify yourself and have an identity. So you were used to be infinite, you're everything, and now you're everything, putting yourself into this perspective, and now you have a body, and now you're here on Earth being this. And eventually, you are playing this massive game, and you got yourself into this very little aspect. As above, so below. We have bacteria and parasites within our body. Imagine, you're looking at through the telescope and looking at how vast multiverse is, while you're being a little bacteria in the physical body. No one gives a shit about bacteria in our bodies. We're like drinking shit and like smoking stuff and alcohol and eating stuff. Cool if you're taking care of your body. That's great. But how many times are you gonna address the like little bacteria and parasites within your body? Like, oh, my little good bacteria, I love you. How are you doing today, honey? Like, who's doing that? Like, clearly, not many people, I guess. So the same way we're here on Earth. So this whole justice, there's gonna be no justice because we're not playing a game where someone's gonna give a shit about us. We're stuck in a place where, oh, great, we got ourselves involved in a place where no one's gonna give a damn. And that's pretty much what I'm picking up in today's session. I could have gone into this personal, but I picked up this subject, and it seemed like, okay, that's big, that's good. This whole concept of how we get here, how we get ourselves involved in the game, how big the game is, and why there is no justice is massive. It can be explained in lots of other ways, and I just like, okay, this is the first thing that comes in mind, so hopefully it gives you an idea. But yeah, it's massive. So, all in all, seeing all the stuff's going on, like, okay, we're being harvested, we're playing the game and no one even gives a shit about us, like they're trading us like, we're like grass. Not many people care about grass. They're gonna cut it, they're gonna, like, let's say, mow it, they're gonna water it or whatever, trade it, like, feed it to animals and stuff. We're like grass, there's like a lot of beings over there doing their own stuff, caring with their own business, and if someone needs to build a house there, the grass is gonna be disappearing. The grass is asking, well, where's the justice? I feel like everyone is just stepping over me, right? A little pun. Is it a pun? I don't know. But anyway, it's just like that. Like, we're playing in a game where we're not even considered as a player. And you have to pull yourself out of your own limited, like, how you identify, of your own limited aspect of, oh, I'm a physical human being, I'm a girl, I'm a boy, I'm this, and everything this is where this is dangerous. Labeling yourself of who you are, putting yourself in this little shell, and defining yourself as this. If you can get out of your everything, and you're not playing the game from this aspect, you have to play the game from a much bigger aspect. Once you can get out to that point of view, justice is different. And you can do everything. But once you're playing here from this physical point of view where we are the victims, we're being harvested, we're being messed with, this is where we experience all the injustice. Because we're living it all, all the time. So if you can switch it up and just look at things differently, but beyond the physical body, then this is where you can start winning the game. And again, more perception, more awareness to things that are going on and all that. So there's that. So the question was by Riley Rage. It's a really good one. It's a really good one. Like, there's a lot more that I could explore. It's a very vast topic on justice. Like, what's one out of 700 billion reasons why we don't have any justice here on Earth for the 3D? So I found one out of so many, and there's much more than that. So, with that, I'm gonna answer a few more questions and wrap it up for today, because I want to catch a live seminar and just get some more training and then come back into making more videos. But yeah, hopefully you get some values out of this. Another person is saying to True, hey, I have a question. Q-Dog, oh my god, is the Earth stationary planet like flat plane? Okay, so is the Earth a stationary flat plane? What are we actually living on? From my perspective, it is a realm. It's literally, as a consciousness, you create a place and it's infinite. So we only define that the Earth looks like this and this is how it is and this is what's inside of it. I get out of body and there's, like, let's say, bubbles everywhere, and you go into that bubble and it's an infinite realm, and you can keep on creating and adding more, or just back off and like just, okay, this is all it is. And sometimes, like, let's say with Earth, collective agreement, collective consciousness, to where a lot of people that come here on Earth, we agree on how things are. It's the same time as we label, oh, well, okay, well, this is a glass of water. and we all, agree that this is it, instead of juice or whatever. If one will believe this is juice and the other saying it's coffee and it's tea and it's all over the place, we would have different realities all over the place. But since all of us are looking at the glass of water, this is what it is. So same here on Earth, it's a realm, but we agree on this is like there's America, there's Europe, there's Australia, and like all the other places, and you're gonna define how it is, and you're gonna put labels, or we're gonna agree on what our like common reality is, and this is like how I see it. But then again, each and every one of you can look at things differently, and I can be all wrong about it all. So yeah, you just gotta find your own truth for that one. Whoa. Daughter OV is asking, Kvilla, have you met the 150 feet tall giant Nordics? I've seen them devour entire civilizations. Who are they? No, I haven't seen those. I know like planet eaters. It's like a plant that just keeps on growing. It's conscious, and it just devours the planet. And within that plant, like as they're devouring everything, there's the whole realm within, where it works like a soul trap, and people just keep on falling. Everything's kind of like stuck in space of falling, where a lot of people like that are devoured by that like a planet eater like have this fear of falling because they kept falling, and like they start like getting these beliefs, I can't get out of there, I'm trapped, I'm stuck. And this is where they create their core identity of why they can't get out of body. They're afraid of heights and they're stuck and they can't get out of here. They're like stuck within this place. But like you just like a lot of correlations I'm seeing. But like these 100 feet tall giant Nordics, I haven't seen them. Like it sounds pretty cool. Riley's also asking, does astrology and planet alignments play a role in other dimensions or universes, or is that strictly Earth program? I've seen quite a few other worlds that do look at their own, like star systems, like when like astrology and planet alignments and everything else. They have a bit different understanding than on Earth, and they use it for their like, let's say, I don't see like like let's say they don't have those Mercury in retrograde and everything else. They don't have the bad things. They're more like using the positive. They're just always looking at the good stuff for creation, for development. So I've been in a few places where they do have that, but it's a rare thing. It's a rare thing where people are gonna look at the like planet alignments and the stars and like okay, well this is how we're gonna like feel and like what's gonna happen and everything else. A rare thing actually, pretty rare. But then again, some civilizations do have it a lot. As in, it's their main thing. Let's say some people like Eltrons, they're like pretty much all into crystal. It's all about crystals. And some people like can be all into astrology and planet alignments and everything else. So there's like a lot of like infinity possibilities. I've seen like 3-4 places that have that besides Earth, but not too many. So too bad. Yakashi is asking, what is your take on psychic powers? Which one did you experience and which one are the most inside of you? Okay, so for me, it all started when I was a kid, is by seeing stuff. Like right now, what I'm talking about, the quick scans I'm doing and everything else, like for me, it's all about visuals, and I kind of like have an easy access to that. I see more like beyond what normal humans do, but it's a thing that everyone has inside of them. Like it's a muscle that you have to develop, and everyone can do it, but it's something you have to work at. But for me, like it's always been there. I've always seen more than just humans and physical structures around us and all this stuff. I would look through the window as a kid, and there would be like little angels flying around, little more like entities back then, not so much. It's like weird enough I didn't reflect it back then, but I've seen more like, I don't know why I never explored it, but like there were more like angelic creatures, with angel wings and everything else, but none of those archangels or whatever. It's like just like one of that kind. I've seen beings like witches, like more like shamans, like shamans, or like however you call it, like those that are healers and energy workers from different realms. Like it's just like two realities, like get in one place, and you can see more than that. So like I've seen quite a few of those. Some reptilians, some greys back in the day, yeah. So for me it all started there, then accessing my past lives and just getting an easy access to get out. It's still I wouldn't say it an issue, but I'm working on being more present. Like for me, I'm not here most of the time. Like this physical body is like, it's cool and all this stuff, but I'm not here most of the time. Like I'm in another place. It takes so easy for me. Like I'm sitting here and like this quick scan, I'm fully out there. I see things and I experience things as much as they're real over there. And for me it's all the time. So, we can have a conversation, you're gonna say one word, it's like, and I already drift off to that place, and I'm like, what were you talking about? So I have a hard time staying full inside the body. This is like one of the things I'm sort of like struggling with, but it's also like it's a benefit. I don't have to be stuck here fully. There are things like hearing, hearing, like, how's it called, like clairvoyant, clear conscious and all this stuff, to where, I hear entities talk, and all of a sudden, like, it used to scare me. I was doing my homework, and then they're gonna, like, whisper my name, like, fuck, did someone call me? And I would look at that, and like, okay, like, my brother's, like, busy, definitely didn't call me, and I'm doing my homework, and then they shout out my name, like, fuck, and they just, like, my ink goes all over the page, and, like, fuck it up, like, oh, man, what the fuck, and that was kind of, like, pretty creepy for me when it started. But I'm glad I had someone like Rich 2150X, you might have seen his YouTube channel. So he was the first person who had a lot of knowledge about these subjects, and when I, asked my, like, hey, what the hell is this? Like, what am I experiencing? And like, for me, I didn't have much knowledge. I had a lot of like experiences where I hear things, I see things, I have no idea what the hell, man. Like, I've never knew like about reptilians, like just like some scaly creature, really big and kind of like not like kind of mean. I didn't call them reptilians. I didn't had names for that stuff. So for me, like, it just happened with seeing a lot of things, and I really like was lucky to have someone who was able to guide me and explain how things are. And then I would share my experiences, and like the person like Rich would say like, hey, well, what you experienced was in the books, and I'm like, really? And so for me, like, a lot of what I'm learning and sharing is because I get out of body and I get that. Like, I don't read that many books. Barely. And something I should do, but something I'm kind of like, damn, like, I learned the same concepts by getting out and bringing big information back here rather than learning it here on Earth. So a lot of like what I'm doing seems natural, but that's just like, like, hey, that's something I learned over there, something I'm applying, and like, why not? It seems like my beingness. But these are like the biggest thing for me. Just seeing stuff, easy way to access past lives, and see who people are before coming here on Earth and all this stuff. I'm like getting my past lives and all this stuff, or like accessing your stuff. I'm like a dog, I'm gonna sniff out, like, I'm just gonna be some information I get, like, look for this, and I'm like, and I just go like with my visuals, like, oh, okay, here's what I'm seeing, and then I'm just talking about my experience or like what the hell's going on, and then I have to stop and connect the dots, like, oh, okay, I have to explain it in human language. Damn. Like, for me, I have a lot of experiences, so there's like a lot of abilities, but for me the biggest one is visuals. Like, it's just as real as can be. So there's that. That's about me. But anyway, people, I'll be wrapping it up. There's like a lot of things I still have to do tonight. So everyone, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. A lot of great questions and comments. I'm definitely going to be saving some of them and making videos about what you've talked about. And hey, thanks for showing up, for giving your precious time listening to me, and hopefully you've got something useful out of this. So I'll see you next time.